Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures. It is Friday, which means more Obscurities in Literature. And this is like a book that seems almost custom made for me. It is Tankhead's Mechanical Encyclopedia Art Book. 1/164th scale. Tankhead, if you're not familiar, is the brainchild of Emerson Tung here on the cover, who has been very steadfastly and productively making really cool kind of sci-fi alternate universe, very World War II-esque fantasy mecha, which sounds like a lot, but it makes sense, you know? So anyway, what's really cool about this book is it's not just the artwork. I mean, obviously you can see all the artwork for free, most of it, I think. Some of it looks new to me, but we'll talk about some of that in a sec. The cool thing is you have all the fun background lore. And I mean, if you've heard me harp on these kinds of things before, when it comes to art books, and especially like my favorite types of books would be like bestiaries and monster manuals, you know, going back to a very young age, always have enjoyed those types of books. But part of the fun of just not only having those cool illustrations was, you know, you got all the meat and potatoes background on a lot of the stuff in those books. I can remember checking out, you know, encyclopedias of monsters and things when I was a kid, and I don't think much has changed. So, really quick, we got a breakdown on the table of contents, and you'll see some names that may not make any sense to you yet, but they will if you actually read through the book. You get a quick introduction here about the three main factions in the Never War, or a never-ending war, which is between the, the Kiserian Empire, the Greater Kiserian Empire. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I just realized it's right here also. The Yamaichi Dominion and the Britonica Alliance. So, we have just a quick snapshot of the world map, but then we get the whole shebang right here. So you get a quick look. Yes, it does kind of somewhat sort of mirror a lot of our own world. And you can definitely tell through some of the various designs in here. Some of the designs may be named after more famous and obvious machinery, but, you know, that kind of goes without saying. And as we just start off, one of the cool things, and especially because my kid's been bugging me about playing Metal Slug Attack Reloaded, and I've always been a fan of those kind of line defense games like Battle Cats, you know, Cats the Commander, Metal Slug, things where you just have to keep rolling out new units. And I gotta say, Metal Slug was really cool about all of the weird vehicles that maybe you didn't necessarily remember so much from the games, but they popped up in that, and there was just tons of crazy stuff. And I feel like I'm almost looking through like a manual of that. And now that I say that, I would absolutely kill for a book of nothing but all the crazy Metal Slug designs, because Reloaded had a ton of crap. I mean, not Reloaded, Attack or Defense, whichever version of it. The side-scrolling gacha tower defense game, that thing had a ton of crazy units. But one of the things I like to point out here is you can already see that we're not going to be limited to just mechs. There is a ton of different vehicles in here. Some of these a little bit more obvious in their origins. Some of them maybe not so much. The S-Cargo transport I always thought was a kind of a cool one. I can kind of remember seeing this online, I think. I do like that there's a bunch of like these big pages of various artwork of the world itself, which is always cool and makes me wonder if they're going to ever try doing anything with some of these designs in an actual game situation. The Ugly Duckling. One of the things I feel is missing from this is some uniform designs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Osprey's Steampunk Soldiers from Around the World. I really like that book too. I even did a video. I think it was one of the very first videos on a book I did. The other thing about looking at this book is this is like almost a you know, Christmas catalog of mecha designs for like games like Lancer or Mecha Hack. Tank Kong, coming from West Rosinia. Rosinia being, I feel like it's kind of a mix between Russia and Germany in terms of their designs. But that Kong definitely gives a bit of a Zoids vibe there. Chicken head. So there's like a lot of these little background blurbs as well. There's one, yes, that's what I was looking for, the hen transport. I love this vehicle. And of course you even get the schematics there for it. With the egg tankets. The pigeon bomber. It's always nice and appreciated when they kind of figure out the logistics of how that works. I don't know about mounting bombs necessarily, or missiles in the joints of a mech. Okay, it looks like we're almost to, yes, the Yamaichi Dominion. Obviously, we're not going to show you everything, but again, there's some cool background art and lore. You can see this is quite text-heavy at times. The Shirogaru. Obviously, these are our Japanese stand-ins. You do see a bit of uniform art with most of these. The Tarakatsu. The Tsuchigumo and the crabs here. Can never have enough crab mechs, right? The Kabuto Mushe, that was kind of cool. Where the cannon is the horn of the beetle. The Komori. It's a bat. The special attack, you know, with the giant blade on it. Kawasemi. Then we're going to jump to the back, which is the tail end, the Kiserian Empire, New Kaiseria, and East Rosenia. Obviously, we're going for a very German vibe, both with the art and the names and the patterns. The Sturmgeschütz. My German's awful. The Panzerkopf. But I just kind of need to see, there's some really creative designs in here. And again, you get some cool background lore and art as well. They have their own Tank Kong. The Panzer Blitzisch. Because you gotta have some kaiju mechs, right? Again, with that bit of a Zoid vibe. But then again, you kind of see that with a lot of the... Oh yes, I forgot. I hadn't even shown any of the big battleship mechs. Which most countries have in this book. But obviously, it's something for you to check out yourself. The Gotteshaupt Project. Now, what's really neat in the back of the book, I'm not going to spoil the epilogue, we actually have a timeline, which is kind of cool. And then you have like this old, Stalia art, which almost makes me wonder and hope that maybe we'll see like a fantasy version at some point. That'd be kind of neat with like power armor and stuff. I think this was the Yamato. I don't know. It's in here, but I don't want to spoil everything. We have a glossary, which I thought was kind of cool, about some of the different places and what's going on in the context of the story. And then there's a quick sketchbook at the back, which is always appreciated. You can see some of the really big Titan-sized stuff. But again, I'm not going to spoil everything for you. Something to look forward to. As I said, this is relatively new, so it should be pretty easy to get a hold of, at least at the time that I filmed this. It was put out by Udon in the US, and I'm going to assume most English-speaking countries. So that at least is a good sign that it should be available pretty easily through your various distribution channels, or at the very least on Amazon and places like that. So congratulations to Mr. Emerson Tung for getting this out in print. It is an awesome book. Kudos to you, sir. And hopefully we will see even more of the never-ending war in the near future in some form or another. And I keep saying, somebody's got to get this stuff made for tabletop games. I know we had Warlord did their weird war game, but that seems to have gone by the wayside. But they never got really into the crazy wild designs like this, and that's really where my interests lie. But Lancer, this and Lancer, definitely some fun stuff, especially if you wanted to mix and match there. So yeah, with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamperlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!